And the reason for that is that while most snakes will move away if people approach and they will just try to hide from you, the puff adder is so well camouflaged, and it's also quite of a lethargic or lazy snake, that it actually will rely on its camouflage and just lie there. It won't move away, and that's why people sometimes they step on it, and then of course it will bite. One thing people sometimes say is that if you're hiking in a group, you should never walk as the third person, because the first person will wake up the puff adder, the second person will annoy it, and so it will bite the third person that comes past. So if you go hiking or walking, try not to be the third person in the group. And as you can see, inside there's also the spitting cobra there, which just earlier I said that cobras typically are neurotoxic, so venom that works on your nervous system. But some of the cobras actually have the possibility to spit in your face. They up to 2-3 meters, and they're very accurate. They aim for your eyes typically, or your face. Now, if you can imagine that a neurotoxic venom which works on the nerve, if it just comes on your skin or in your eyes, it's not going to have a large effect. Whereas something that attacks your tissue is going to be very painful, and at least it might, if it gets into your eyes, might blind you. So that's why, and that's also again, I guess, an interesting development and specialization. Why, while it is a cobra, and you would expect maybe it to have a neurotoxic venom, because of its lifestyle and some things it can do, like the spitting. Actually, those cobras, spitting cobras that had some cytotoxic part in their venom, actually have become more successful, and that's why the venom of the spitting cobras has actually moved more to the cytotoxics or tissue attacking part. So that's quite a could evolve like interesting situation. Neurotoxic venom, of course, the mambas has a very potent neurotoxic venom. Black mamba, if that's, I think, one of the most lethal snakes. If it does bite you, then it injects such a potent venom and such a lot of it that you really need to get to a hospital quickly. Interesting enough, there's also an adder, it's called the berg adder, which lives in mountainous areas near cliffs and ravines, and that doesn't have a cytotoxic venom, because that works cytotoxic, as I explained, attacks the tissue quite slowly. Now you can imagine if an animal lives in a mountainous area and it's bitten, it might just fall into a cliff or into a ravine, and then the adder still loses its prey. And that's why I say that the berg adder that lives in that kind of environment is an adder or a viper, but it still has actually a neurotoxic venom, which is much faster acting than that of other vipers. And again, I believe that that's an adaptation to its lifestyle, and through natural selection, those berg adders that had some neurotoxic in their venom became more successful, and in the end that's why the balance in the venom shifted towards the neurotoxins. And then the two hemotoxic ones, boomslang and vine snake, those are also the two that actually could be potentially lethal if they bite you. The vine snake maybe a bit less so, but the boomslang definitely. But bites from those are quite rare. So as you can see in this area, as far as I've been able to reconstruct, we have 6, let's say, potentially lethal snakes, but still there's no reason actually to be scared of that or to be especially afraid, because maybe with the exception of the puff adder, the snakes will move off way before you see them or get close enough to be bitten. I remember when I was on a reptile searching trip for the reptile atlas in South Africa. We were specifically looking for all kind of reptiles, but also snakes. But even in the 10 days that we were out the whole day looking for all kind of reptiles and snakes and things, I think if we actually through actively searching found 2 or 3, that must be the most of it. So even if you actually looked for them, it's quite rare actually that you bump into them or step on it. So no need to be too concerned about it. Now the interesting thing is, and I was looking for a quote but I didn't find it, but a lot of the snake venom, dangerous as it is, it's also been used for medicines in many ways. Some snake venoms, because it attacks a certain kind of tissue, like the cytotoxic venoms, have been used for, or the researching they use for cancer treatments actually, where what I read in this case was from, I think specifically from a scorpion venom, but it's a similar story. and that's the venom actually only attacks the tumor cells, and it leaves the let's say the healthy cells alone, and in that way they can attach let's say a little piece of medicine or whatever to the venom molecule, and that will specifically target the tumor cells. I don't think that it's already like in broad use, but they're investigating it, and it seems to hold a lot of promise for cancer treatment. I'll just skip the second one for now. I'll go to the third one. Also the hemotoxic venoms, because they do. The intention of the snake is to get its victim to actually to bleed internally to death, so it dies and it can catch and eat it. In smaller doses, it prevents your blood clotting as well. So it is being used in treatment of stroke and prevention of strokes, and people that have problems with their hearts as well. So that's quite interesting. And the third one is actually it's anti-wrinkle cream, which is part of the neurotoxic venom, which actually it stuns or paralyzes your face muscles to some extent. And in that sense, it works the same way as Botox does, I guess. Only you don't have to inject it. You can rub it on your face. It's a modification of something. And I think they sell it in Harrods in London, and it costs about £50, I think, for a month's treatment. And it won a technology award. So you can see it's in a way it's actually amazing how creative humans are, but it's also how important it is to keep all the biodiversity, because now even from venoms, or actually which kill people by snake bites, by using them cleverly and maybe modifying them a little bit, we can actually use it to save lives, or with anti-wrinkle cream at least to look better. And that's probably less important, but I guess everybody has their own priorities in that sense. But yeah, it's quite interesting that any poison in the right dose can actually be used as a medicine as well. So I think that ends my idea about snake venom. So now I did a little bit about classification to finish.